Ireland, folks, Grand Slam champions. Johnny goes out with a bang. 29 points to 16. Winners over England at home. We're going to go through some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. The sun is just coming up here in NZ. My kids are eagerly awaiting breakfast, so we'll get through it, but geez. Made to work for it, even if the scoreboard looks pretty comfortable in the end, right? It's a bonus point win. There's a red card, which is a little bit of a contentious one, but ultimately, Ireland with that Grand Slam in front of that massive crowd, great atmosphere. That's a heck of a way to finish the Six Nations. What else can I say? I mean, it started a little bit messily for England in terms of like just tackling Jamison, Gibson-Park in the air. I'm thinking, geez, the last thing you want to be doing is gifting this Irish side possession and territory early, but Ireland just looked a little bit off the pace early. I mean, Sheehan, one of his throws kind of goes a bit askew early, and England are able to attack, go through like 15 or more phases. Eventually, they go back for an advantage. They're able to get the first points on the board, make it 3-0. That quiets the crowd down a little bit as they're trying to push their team forward. Ireland go on attack, and England are able to disrupt. Although then England conceded like a penalty for an extra roll at one point. Sexton took a quick tap and went bloody close to scoring, but got held up. And Farrell was maybe a wee bit lucky not to be pinged for tackling him in an offside position because the ref said that Maro Tadhg played him onside. So, yeah, a bit of a moment for England, I guess, to kind of keep Ireland out. And, yeah, just a chance to kind of get out of jail because it looked like Ireland were going to hit them straight back. England extended their lead, though, man. 14 minutes. A kind of poor Irish clearance, and they were guilty of that a few times in this game, and conceded an offside penalty. So 6-0 to England. Atmosphere markedly changed, because remember, this England side last week got an absolute hiding by France, and they've been pretty much written off by everybody that they're going to come to Ireland and just be the whipping boys on the way to Ireland's Grand Slam. Not early on. That being said, Ireland did manage to kind of settle things back down a bit. Few minutes later, like take that 3 points back, they got a penalty of their own. After a few attacks had been rebuffed, they managed to get themselves a penalty. So 6 points to 3. 20 minutes, Ireland strip one of the English guys in a tackle, bit of turnover ball, but then they lose the ball. Hugo Keenan, who's usually very reliable, kind of shanks a kick, clearance kick wide. So it's not settled by any means. England are able to go like 11 phases from their next chance with ball in hand, but the Irish defence was able to hold. And at one point, Sexton took a wee knock and was holding his head. And man, Owen Farrell did not like that. I get the feeling those guys, just being both ultra competitive, don't like each other that much, at least on the field. Maybe off the field they get together and have a few beers, I'm not sure. But yeah, Owen Farrell was just like, send him off for an HIA if he's going to hold his head like that. So yeah, interesting times. 21 minutes. More Ireland phases. Eventually, Baird knocks it on. Just kind of forcing passes, it felt like. Like, usually Ireland is ultra cool, calm, and collected. And Johnny Sexton said after the game in the immediate kind of on-the-field post-match interview that, like, they didn't do what the coaches asked them to do today. They did kind of the opposite. And it felt like it at times. They even conceded a scrum penalty for not pushing straight, which was kind of uncharacteristic. But they did finally get things to click right before the end of the first half. Dan Sheard, who ends up getting man of the match, 33 minutes, scores kind of a peach of a try. It's a line-out move. It looks like they're going to maul it. Right as England are kind of setting for that maul defence, Josh van der Flier peels wide and then puts the ball back inside to Sheehan, who is one of the more athletic hookers out there. He's got the gas to be able to go from that kind of range. So, great try. Much needed. So, suddenly 7 points to 6. That's the only lead change of the game. Ireland are in front. They will not concede the lead from here out. But England were far from done. I mean, Arundell had a nice run, although got himself isolated and then basically just picked up by, I think it was Caelan, Doris and Josh van der Flier. His legs are just, he's trying to run, he's trying to get to the ground, he's not going anywhere. So it's turnover ball there, which was a little bit unfortunate for them. And then more unfortunate for England is from the resulting attacking play for Ireland. It's again bobbled ball, but then Freddie Steward makes contact with Hugo Keenan's head with his elbow, which is generally not a good look. Like if you go an elbow to head, things are usually going to be red. But I got to admit, this is a weird one. because it's not like Keenan had the ball right up until the last minute and it was a bobbled ball. And Hugo Keenan was bent over to the point of being at Steward's kind of midriff height. They said, Steward, you were kind of upright, you had a clear view. It feels harsh. I know elbow to head is bad, but I don't know. I mean, maybe if instead of bracing, does he just get out of the way? Does he just need to flop down? There's only only a moment in it. They slow it down. It looks worse than it maybe does at full speed, but it's just a weird one. Most of the red cards you see these days, it's shoulder to head, and it's a tackler not showing any bend. This was not that kind of situation. So this is the kind of one that my mum, who watches a decent amount of rugby, will go, laws are killing the game. And I know we have to protect the head, but it's such a weird one. This kind of situation I don't think will happen again because, as I said, it was a bobbled ball that a guy was bending over to pick up, and the other guy was just kind of in his way and went, up, and then banged him in the head. So, as with every red card decision, people will see that two different ways, but it felt kind of tough. But ultimately, it's an elbow to the head, I guess, by the laws of the game. So he gets red carded. You may be thinking Ireland's going to run away with it now. Like if they've been kind of in an arm wrestle, England have been doing all right for the first half. Now that they're down to 14 men, Ireland are surely going to run away and smash them. Well, not initially. Ireland did go through a heap of phases before that halftime whistle, but England's defence was able to hold. So despite Ireland's 61% possession, 57% territory, 2 clean breaks to none, and 279 run meters to 129, it's still just 10-6 at halftime. So, yeah, it's a tight game. Knock-ons are 8-3, which is maybe a little bit uncharacteristic for Ireland to be that kind of lacking the clinical edge. Second half, though, Keenan hasn't come back on. So he's missed for the rest of the game, and he's a key part of everything Ireland does. So that I know that doesn't matter with the red card. Like, you can't look at the result and go, well, that justifies the red card. But in your mind, you kind of go, well, you lost a player, we lost a player. Although Jimmy O'Brien's a classy guy to bring off the bench, but still, Keenan is proper world class. So messy, and that kind of worked for England. England were able to keep it tentative, keep it an arm wrestle. They were happy to kind of keep a kick and duel going. England managed to win a penalty after some messy scrums to make it 10 points to 9. So it's back to being game on, man. Ireland still looking a little bit uncomfortable, and I do think going into a World Cup, there's no other game between now and the World Cup which will emulate that kind of massive pressure in a do or die game. Like, Ireland are hunting a Grand Slam. They will be better for having had that kind of pressure. They kind of saw how they reacted to the pressure, and obviously they did react well enough in the end, but it took them a while to maybe get over that hump. So I do think this is really great experience to have in the bank. But anyway, Ireland lose, line out ball. Maro Itoje loves that. He can feel England are actually getting on top with a bit of momentum. Ireland kind of clear it under a bit of pressure, but the clearance is not great. There's a bit of handbags. But then I think just before the hour mark, there's a key kind of momentum shifter, and it's Ryan Baird in the side because 2 other guys are injured, basically, and then in Byrne and Henderson. But he wins a penalty at the breakdown, and it seems like a momentum shift because they're able to get down England's end. They're able to get themselves a 5-metre scrum. They get advantage when the English guys are offside, and then Henshaw is able to go for Ireland's second try, just to ease off the pressure that they've been, within a penalty of going behind. Arky's pass to Henshaw when they go back blindside. It's a proper nice one. He's virtually untouched. I think Jamie George might have got one hand on him, but it's backs against front rowers. So 17 points to 9, certainly looking way more comfortable for Ireland than it was when it was a 1-point game. That being said, Ireland not great off the kickoff receipt, but they were still able to kind of force another one of those maul turnovers by keeping the tackler up in like a kind of choke tackle. So not a great kickoff receipt, but they responded to that well, if that makes sense. So yeah, bit of back and forth. Then the final nail in the coffin, honestly, it's the Sheehan 68-minute try. The game was done when that try went through. And again, it's when they just keep going back blindside, and Conan with a peach of an offload. So yeah, that guy's been phenomenal off the bench every game. So 24-9, there's no real coming back from here. England do get one through Jamie George, which is a bit of a consolation. Good for them because they've been down a man, and they've given Ireland a bit of a scare for parts of this game. After they, I think they went like 12 phase or something, and then Ireland conceded a penalty at the breakdown, wasn't it? So 24-16, Sexton goes off. His leg looks a little bit sore, but he gets a standing ovation. What a way for him to finish his Six Nations career. Absolutely phenomenal. Great servant for the game, for Ireland, for Leinster, for World Rugby, basically. He's been a real, just a real competitor. So obviously he's still got the rest of this year to go. But as far as send-offs go for his Six Nations career, it ain't going to get much better than that. And then it gets worse for England because Willis goes off with a yellow card for a tip tackle on Byrne, who's only just come on. And Herring's able to get the bonus point try for Ireland. So just icing on the cake, man. The game was already won. He peels off the maul and reaches out for a great try. So 29-16 it finishes. Byrne misses the final conversion. But yeah, man, like I said, it's a historic occasion. It's a great end for the Six Nations. It's a great result for Ireland to get that Grand Slam, and as I said, send off Sexton like they did. Grand Slam win in Ireland is special. The great atmosphere of the crowd was phenomenal. For England, like, it's obviously not all doom and gloom. It's a good response to last week where they were well beaten at home. They certainly showed us something a bit else. They may have been able to stay in it a bit longer if not for the red card, but that's kind of just speculation. But certainly I think they can hold their heads high after that performance despite the loss. Stats: possession 53-47, territory 51-49, so England certainly in it, but clean breaks 8-0 to Ireland. The defenders beaten 33-15. Ireland's tackling percentage at 91, England at 81, so there's just a difference between the sides. But then knock on 16-5, Ireland. Uncharacteristic, as I mentioned. Penalties conceded costing on 13-7, so almost double. Ireland 467 run meters to 272. Ireland, good value for the win. What else can you say? Sheehan, man of the match, 3 clean breaks, 2 tries, 5 defenders beaten 48 metres. Not a bad outing for a guy who looked to be maybe injured last week. He's back in man of the match. Mack Hansen beats 4 defenders, 61 metres. Johnny Sexton, 49 metres and 3 defenders beaten. Not bad. For England, Willis makes 20 out of 23 tackles. Watson beats 7 defenders and has 42 metres. But there you go, folks. You guys let us know your thoughts. If you're an Ireland fan, you'll certainly be celebrating long into the night, I would imagine. If you're an England fan, you'll be maybe ruining the Steward red card, but ultimately, in a game where you guys were supposed to just be, as I said, whipping boys, I think you gave a good account of yourselves despite the loss. So there you go. You guys let us know your thoughts. I'm off to watch Scotland and Italy because I haven't seen it yet, but it's all about Ireland at the moment, isn't it? So anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.